Hi, I'm Dr. Janae Brown,
And I'm Dr. Palermo.
and we are two doctors of physical therapy at Physical Therapy San Pedro. Today, we want to come and talk to you guys about the misconceptions of strength training. So, we know these past couple of months have been very stressful for everybody with the COVID-19 pandemic. We know that we have all been stressed out, and there's been some racial tension with protesting and rioting and things of that nature. And we're just all sort of trying to navigate this new normal, this change, this alter in how we've been normally living life. So we actually had this blog ready to go a couple months ago, and Dr. P and I decided, you know what, let's hold back from putting it out. Let's just kind of let things settle, and we'll bring this back up a little bit later. So right now, we just felt like this is the right time to have this discussion, especially as now gyms are reopening, athletes are returning back to some modified sports activities, and we wanted to talk to you guys and dispel some crazy myths and misconceptions about strength training. So, Dr. P, why don't you share with me one of the big misconceptions right now about strength training? What's the number one out that we have listed right now?
Oh, the number one. And we just want to knock it off the list.
Get it off.
Just get it out of there. So the number one thing that I hear that I try to dispel is that weight training is going to make me bulky.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it drives me crazy to hear it because we're in 2020 and we just need to stop thinking that way. Yeah. I think that, and in particular women, other populations, they might associate weight training or strength training with bodybuilders, power lifters, big bulky guys that walk around in the gym with protein shakes, filled with eggs, right? And that's just like, there is a certain population that does that.
Yeah.
But those are strength athletes. Like, they are purposefully bulking. They are purposely eating 5,000 calories a day, training 2 to 3 times a day sometimes to really be the best at what they want to be.
Yeah.
Now, for us, we're just trying to encourage strength training 3 to 5 times a week, less than an hour each session, around an hour each session. So that's not what we're trying to promote, right? Like, strength training in that fashion is not going to make you bulky.
Right.
It's going to make you strong. It's going to make you tone. I'll bring the word tone out. But it's really just going to make your body strong. It's not going to make you bulky unless you're trying to bulk and trying to be big.
Yeah.
So let's get it clear the air. Women, ladies, strength training will not make you bulky, so get into it.
Strength training will not make you bulky. Okay.
The other one, Dr. Brown, that we hear a lot is, oh, my kid's too young. I don't want them to start strength training too young. It might stunt their growth. What do you think about that one?
Yeah. So we work with a lot of youth athletes, and we get that question often: is my kid too young to strength train? Or no, my kid's too young. They're gonna get they're not gonna grow the right way if they strength train. First of all, the basics of strength training are just being able to move your own body weight. So, if you're a kid who's playing sports, you're doing that already. You're doing a lot of cutting movements, and you're doing a lot of just different movements that your body, and you're doing those things repetitively. For us, when we teach someone how to strength train, we're teaching them the basics of how to move correctly and move their own body weight correctly. That's the first step of what really strength training is. And we believe that any athlete that is playing a sport, 10 or 11, is safe to start strength training because they're already training to their sport. So the other thing is there's really no research that indicates otherwise, right, Dr. P? So there's nothing out there that says that if you're under 10 or 11, 10 or under any age, you're going to stunt your growth if you strength train. So like I said, we recommend, there's no research out there otherwise. We see that kids are doing it, benefit from it. So we only see the positives. And so we encourage any athlete that is playing sports at any age should be strength training for the most part. If you're not an athlete and you're not playing the sport, and you're 10 or 11 or 12 and you want to strength train, we don't see any problem with you doing that safely. There's a lot of athletes out there that do that, that even compete at young ages in strength train. And we have seen no adverse effect from that in the research, right?
And just to piggyback on that a little bit, it's just, you just have to apply strength training in a safe way and have a coach that really knows what they're doing to teach kids how to properly strength train. And if they're properly doing it with good movement, they shouldn't be getting hurt. That's not the purpose of it. They should just be learning how to control their body weight. So that, you know, just do it appropriately with a good professional that knows how to teach kids how to move.
Yeah, for sure. And the last one, Dr. P, that I know you're really passionate about, is one that I think you can answer really appropriately, but is that people will think that, if, you know, I'm not an athlete, I don't play sports, so strength training really doesn't apply to me. What would you say to the person that says that?
Yeah, I love this one. Well, I think my rebuttal is just strength training is just good for everyone. Right. In general, it builds muscle mass, it keeps our bone density high, and it helps build strong, resilient joints. Yeah. And then we just have to say it. I mean, as we age, some people are in denial about age, right? But every decade you age, if you don't continue with strength training, your muscles atrophy, your bone density gets lower, osteoporosis happens. Yeah. So every decade that you can to build strength to deter all that atrophy from happening is the best for you. Yeah. So, you know, strength training is good for everyone, especially the people that didn't grow up playing sports and didn't really have, you know, like a competitive nature at all. Yeah. Those are usually the people that in their 40s and 50s, they've never been to a gym. They've only been walking their whole life, and right. Walking's not going to cut it. Walking doesn't strengthen your muscles. Sure, it's okay for a little bone density, but really, in order to keep your longevity, your health, strong muscles, and reduce risk for injury, you have to be strength training to some extent. Even for runners, there's like hardcore runners, marathon runners, but running can also break you. It's very repetitive. So you need to incorporate strength training so that your body doesn't break down from that one activity. Yeah. So everyone can strength train.
Everybody can.
Old, yep. Sedentary, non.
Yep. Like Oprah says, you get strength training. You get strength training. You get strength training. Everybody gets the strength training. Why do you think it's so important for us to dispel some of these myths about, you know, strength training, especially like right now? Like, why do you think we need to let people know that and encourage people, you know, to strength train?
I mean, as much as we love our jobs, right? We're in the business of injury, so we see people
we'll take as many patients who want to come to us. You want to get injured? We are here for you.
But it's 80 to 90% of our patient load. It's like we find strength deficits.
Yeah.
Along with movement, mobility, all that we've discussed in previous blogs, but there's strength deficits, and the weaker you are, the more strength deficits you have, the more vulnerable you are to injury. Yeah. Especially if you're a competitive high-level athlete, but it's also especially if you're a sedentary middle-aged person, right? Like you will get hurt because, I mean, from COVID, we had a lot of people they sat longer than they usually do, and they didn't work out, and now their back is just because their body wasn't strong enough, and you know, you didn't continue to train it. So we really just want to help people learn that strength training is okay, and it's going to keep your body resilient. But if you want to come and see us, so we can tell you that in person.
I also think, as we were talking about earlier, like as gyms are reopening, right, and athletes are slowly returning back to sports and sports-specific activities, you know, we want to ensure that everybody's returning back safely, so that you're returning back to your sport safely, and that you slowly ease back in to it. And we know that strength work helps build foundations to the body. So if you're, you know, it's really important that those athletes that are returning, especially, you could have been off and not doing anything and taking this break, you know, and just chilling, and then you could have been training still, which is great too. But either way, strength training is a vital piece of, you know, and beneficial to every person. And so we want to make sure that that transition back is a graded one, that you slowly move your own body weight, then you slowly add more weight to your to your workouts and things like that, but that you grade your workouts so you don't get injured, right? Like we said, if you get injured, you know, we're here for you, but our goal is we want to help prevent you from getting injured. We want to educate you, you know.
Yeah. Knowledge is power.
Yeah, empower our patients. We want to empower you, empower our followers. So if, as people, you know, now that we've, you know, dispelled some myths, and we hopefully have encouraged everybody that strength training is important and they should be participating in a strength training program, what would you suggest to, you know, our followers, our listeners, our patients, our clients, you know, people who work out? What would you say to them? Anybody who would say, okay, what next?
Well, if you've never strength trained before, even if you have strength trained before, find a good coach. There's nothing that beats good coaching.
Right.
Interview a couple people, try places out, but invest in yourself.
Yep.
Some of the best investments I've made is hiring a coach and learning and enjoying the process and taking it step by step. Invest in yourself so you can learn the basics really, really well, and then safely strength train. And you can either stay with your coach forever, or you can learn for, you know, half a year how to do it all yourself, and then you can continue with it forever. But invest in yourself, find a good coach. That's like my big thing.
Yep. And we know there's a lot of gyms out there that are opening now. Some are still doing the virtual online coaching and programming. Some of you might feel safe to go out and start training at the gyms and going, and some of you might not. So, but there are a lot of gyms still offering stuff. So we would encourage you to find one in your local area, find one maybe online if you want to do that. We have 2 great ones in our area that we partner with, All Fit Gym in San Pedro and Heyday Elite Fitness here in San Pedro. But there's many great gyms out there. So we're doing a shout out to them as we work with them. But find a gym, right? Find a gym in your area, a gym somewhere online in your area, a good coach, and get going. So, Dr. P, how can people find us if they want to ask us questions, know more, tune in, find more information?
Our biggest platform is Instagram. We have Dr. Brown's done a great job with Instagram. We have Facebook, we have YouTube. Also check out our webpage, physicaltherapysanpedro.com. Our blog is now posted on there. Check it out. Check out all the cool things we do.
Yep.
Get involved. Tag us in your workouts. We'll respond.
We're here for you guys. If you have any questions, we just want to provide information, have good discussions that people are probably interested in, provide an alternative right now. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Dr. P, it's always fun discussing things like this with you. And thank you all for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.